safe. I don't know about around you, but around here we had about 2 inches of snow, and I didn't like walking the dog this morning, I'll be perfectly honest. It was one of those slippy days. Hopefully it'll be better tomorrow. But hope everybody is keeping safe and warm as we go through the next till Friday. I think we've got the warning. No, Saturday the warnings now and for the Midlands. So, they're still coming. Crikey. Well attended today. Okay. We don't go around everybody on these meetings. You'll probably already know. If you are speaking or you do ask a question, please do say who you are and where you're from, and use the chat as you wish. We've got a couple of speakers today, and we should easily get done within the time we've got allotted. So hopefully there should be no overruns this morning. Okay, without further ado then, Becky. Morning, nice to see you there.
Hello, good morning.
You'd like to give us an academy update?
Sure. For anyone I don't know, my name's Becky Vine and I am the Programme Manager for the Midlands Finance Academy. So I'm going to do a quick update. I think, this is a group where people are very familiar with, what the Academy's doing and 1HS Finance. So don't have a huge amount of slides and just want to run through kind of what we've got on offer under each of our work streams. A lot of things people might recognise, but there might be something that you didn't realise, you could get access to, or something that you'd heard about before. But it's a good reminder to think, actually, yeah, that's something that I quite like to take up or get involved in. And I'll also touch a little bit, because we're starting to do this with our kind of board and working groups, a little bit on some of the things that we're looking at for kind of next year's programme or further on into the future. So let me share my slides. Okay, so diving straight into what we've got going on under each of our 4 work streams. So first, in the professional development work stream, on an ongoing basis, we have the bursary for the HFMA qualification in healthcare business and finance. If anyone doesn't know about that, it's a level 7 master's qualification, and it takes about a year to complete. You kind of study alongside your job, and ordinarily people could access this directly from HFMA, but it does come at a cost. So if they do this through the Midlands Finance Academy, if you are a finance person in the Midlands, then you get it completely free as part of the bursary. Again, on an ongoing basis, we have access to coaching. Again, this is through the HFMA Executive Coaching Service. Through the Midlands, you can get 6 hours of online sessions for free with a qualified coach, and you can do those, across. That you just set it up with a coach how you want to use those 6 sessions. We have started trying to help Midlands organisations to advertise their secondment vacancies. So if any organisations have a secondment they want to advertise, they can send it through to myself and I'll post it across a few different platforms. So the HFMA jobs board, the SDN vacancy portal, and the FFF sort of Inside Midlands Teams channel, and also I'll send it to anyone who's asked to be on the expressions of interest list. So those are people who kind of are interested in hearing about secondments. So if anyone wants to be on that list, then you kind of get a first look at any vacancies that come through as well. We have sessions which people can book, again with professional coaches, if they have an interview coming up. So if you have a job that you've applied for and you have either an interview booked or you're going to have one coming up, you can have a 1-hour session with a coach in preparation for that. And again, it's very much up to the individual. They work with a coach on what they want to do. So some people do kind of like mock questions. Other people want to work on a very specific area that they struggle with interviews. It's very kind of adaptable and flexible. There's a few things we're doing on an ongoing basis to try and support everyone in their talent management strategy and kind of the implementation of that. Obviously, you know, most of the work is being done directly in organisations and systems. What the Academy is trying to do is put on some sessions. So we've had a couple recently, one in October and one in November, which was around sort of how to approach the talent conversation, both as a line manager and as an individual. And we do have another session in January, on the 24th of January, from the lovely Jill and Pam, who I think is probably in this room as well, talking about, so they both kindly provided case studies for the first report, regional report that was submitted to the National Finance Academy last June. So they're just kind of talking about the approach that they've been taking towards talent management in their organisations and kind of the progress they've made since last year and how they're approaching it. We're also opening that up nationally, so people outside of the Midlands can attend that as well, because we just want it to be as much benefit for as many people as possible. So if you haven't heard of that one, definitely do sign up and come along. And we do have a little bit of time left to give out vouchers for the HFMA bite-sized courses. So we've got 5 different courses. I think it's an introduction to finance, introduction to commissioning, introduction to, I'm going to forget the rest now. Can't remember, I can post them in the chat afterwards. There's 5 courses that you can choose from, and all organisations can get free access to those through these vouchers, only available, I think the 6th of December is the last time that we can assign vouchers. People then get 12 months to actually complete the course, so it's just a case of getting the voucher assigned before the deadline of the 6th of March for those. So obviously that's coming up quite soon, so I will make sure after I finish the presentation I specifically post a link to the information for that in the chat. NHS of the Future work stream. I've started a health and wellbeing network. So this is made up of all of the One NHS Finance health and wellbeing champions who are in the Midlands. So getting them together on a quarterly basis is what we're kind of starting off with. There might be more that this network does in the future, but we're sort of starting off with doing quarterly kind of meetings / sort of mini events themed with the seasons. So we ran one in the autumn around self-care. And we've got one coming up in January, kind of winter theme, which is going to be around sort of winter pressures, but in terms of health and wellbeing rather than finance roles. So looking at things like seasonal affective disorder, cost of living, and we have a professional speaker to talk about kind of gut health and how that kind of links into sort of mental health and well-being as well, which hopefully will be quite good timing coming off the back of Christmas and everyone's sort of overindulgence. So that's the main thing that we're kind of focusing on with that network, and we also are arranging with One NHS Finance to put some funding in to make sure that all of the health and wellbeing champions that have joined more recently get access to the initial training that ONF run, which they haven't been able to do for a little while due to budget constraints. So the Academy is putting some budget in to ensure that everyone can get that initial training that One NHS Finance run. We're also putting on mental health first aid training. So this is a kind of a 2-day course, and you become a certified mental health first aider. It's with Mental Health England, and we're running it through Arden and Gem CSU, have a facilitator who is qualified to run this course. So we've run it in October, and we're doing another one in February because there are a lot of people who wanted to do this, and hopefully we'll be doing more again in our next programme year. Insights Placement Scheme. So this was launched so this year is the first intake that we've had. So we have 8 trainees who've started in organisations across the Midlands in September, just gone, and they'll be on the scheme for 12 months. So it's a paid work experience placement scheme specifically for people who are 18 and over from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And it's a sort of pre-apprenticeship type program where hopefully if they enjoy their year's work experience, they'll go on to get an apprenticeship or kind of go for an entry-level role. And we are getting ready, or we're doing the promotion to do the next intake for 2025-26. So that'll be for trainees to start next September. And we have 11 organisations who have signed up to host a trainee. So it's being very popular in the Midlands, which I think is a great reflection of kind of the Midlands organisations and how they view schemes like this. And generally, we would do our best to support people in their accreditation journeys. There's kind of more work that we're hoping to do on this in NHS the future, but we're always available, both myself and the national NHS finance team, to work with people when they're getting ready to submit for their accreditations, kind of helping to check pro formas or answer any questions, and then also hoping to run a specific session for any of the organisations in the Midlands that are unaccredited at the moment, with a couple of kind of case studies, examples of people who've gone through accreditation journey recently and how they found it, what they did, and what the benefits have been, to try and help those who haven't kind of started on that yet. And then in the networking, collaboration, innovation area, we're sort of hooked up into the Value Maker Network, obviously with you guys. And we provide funding for systems to put towards any networking events or sessions that they're doing. So those are specifically for ICSs to use to kind of bring finance staff together across the system. There's £2,000 available kind of year on year for all of the systems to use. And this is the working group where we're also trying to hook into the Finance Innovation Forum and the innovations and kind of peer reviewer roles there, and starting to work a bit closer with the branch committees. Initially this year, it was mainly around funding some places to each of the 2 branch conferences, and starting to kind of sit on those committees and understand a bit more about the work that they're doing and making sure it, the academy is aligning with them. So for EDI, there are a few of the kind of national NHS finance areas that we link up with through this work stream. So obviously the sponsorship program, which if anyone isn't aware of it, is a really great program where you can sign up either as a sponsor or a sponsee, and it's a sort of mentoring style relationship. And if you want to sign up as a sponsee, it's specifically for people from kind of the protected characteristics groups. The Academy is running its own EDI Matter sessions each year. So this year in May, we ran an Introduction to Equality, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. And then in October, just gone, we ran a Black History Month session, and then we've got one coming up in March on neurodiversity in the workplace, and we'll be looking at different topics kind of year on year, and working with the inclusion and diversity ambassadors, who are our kind of main group that we work with on this work stream, on what they think will be beneficial to put on for sessions. So we're aiming to do sort of 3 to 4 a year on those. Like I said, working with the IND Ambassador Network and hopefully growing the numbers there as well. And then these 3 are mainly, they're run by the National NHS Finance team. We're just keen to support people to be aware of these and join them if they are of interest. So the National Disabilities Network, Rainbow Network and Cultural Diversity Matters Network, which is a very new one. And we have just launched something called the Return to Work programme. So this was run by London initially, and then it's been kind of taken through the relevant groups in the Midlands to see if it's something we think would be good to run in our region as well, and people have been keen. So we are hoping to be running that in 2025. It's a sort of 6 to 7 month support programme for people who've returned from parental leave within the last 12 months. And it's for men and women, specifically parental leave though, and we run some kind of development style sessions for them, but we also get them together for more kind of informal discussions where they can kind of create their own group and talk to each other and support each other. A little bit about some of the things that we've got in the pipeline. So some of these are hopefully, will be on the programme for 2025-26. Other ones may be kind of something that's under development and further in the future. I won't talk through all of them individually, but I will share the slides with Aoife, and she can send these out to you. And if you have any thoughts or questions on any of these or want to know a bit more info, then you can get in contact with me. Just a little bit in summary, which was kind of taken to the board in our November meeting. So obviously the Academy launched in 2023, and since then we've been working to kind of build up these work streams and the programme offerings that sit underneath them. We do feel like that we need to work a bit more on raising the profile of the Academy and also clarifying its purpose in relation to areas such as HFMA, the national ONF programmes, and obviously local SDN. In terms of engagement for both the national ONF roles and networks and now the regional academy offerings, it's been very positive in the Midlands. Everything is kind of increasing or at least kind of holding in terms of engagement. And the Academy, now that we're starting to put more on, we are starting to collect more feedback and review progress against KPIs, which will obviously help us in kind of shaping what we put on in the future. And I think it's very important that the Academy doesn't work in a silo, so always trying to reflect the national priorities from ONF, but also understand the local needs of the finance workforce in the Midlands, and also continuing to learn from other academies, because that's been a really important part of the Academy so far, is taking what they do in other regions and seeing if it's something we want to do in the Midlands. The usual ways to get involved: website pages, our what's on offer poster to try and kind of summarise easily what we've got coming up, signing up for the newsletter, joining a workstream group. There's always room, especially our kind of NHS of the future and our networking, collaboration, innovation, those two groups. I mean, all groups are open to new members, but those two specifically, we are looking to get a few more people in. And obviously there's all of those national ONF networks, which are incredibly supportive, and all the programs that they run, which I would encourage people to get involved with. That's it from me, Jill.
Great, thanks, Becky. Any questions, thoughts? Anybody really keen or interested in joining and helping develop these and push them forward? Okay, if anybody is or knows of anybody in your organisations that really benefit from these, and you've lost how to access or how to get involved, please do contact Becky. She's really good. She's really helpful, and we'll make sure that anybody who's interested can access these when they need to. Please do take advantage of what's there for us, especially in these times when we haven't got much money to do anything else. A few hands up. Tracy.
Oh, Becky, you've already done it. I was just going to ask what's your email address in the chat.
Michelle?
Hi, yeah, I'm the costing manager for Herefordshire and Worcestershire, and I was just going to say that I know Becky mentioned the monthly newsletter, and it's really worth signing up for that, because I'm one of the training leads in our organisation, which is like a new role that we've created, and I'm also on the networking and collaboration group as well. But the newsletter that comes out monthly consolidates loads of the training and things that are available across sort of HFMA, One NHS Finance, skills development in one place. And I found that really useful to be able to share that across all of our finance teams, so that they're not getting individual emails every time something gets mentioned. So I was just really to say, definitely sign up for the newsletter, especially if you're involved in training in your organisation. Because it consolidates everything into one newsletter, and then we can send that out and share it with our team. And it's got like everything that's coming up over the next sort of 6 weeks on it, and we've just found it really, really useful. So I just wanted to say that.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Good to know that all your hard work, Becky, in putting all these things together isn't wasted. We do share them very widely.
I appreciate it. I popped a couple more links in there. The get the latest, that's just to sign up for the newsletter link, and I'll pop the bite-sized one in there as well. I do have to sign off because I've got something at 10:30, but yeah, like we've said, do get in contact with me. And thanks everyone for your support.
Thanks, Becky. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, Yasmina, I've seen you somewhere.
I'm here.
Yeah, there. Lovely. Okay. Talking about how to promote the NHS finance as a career. I'm really interested to hear how you've managed to do this. Yes. So over to you.
Yes, thank you, Jill. Hi, everybody. Yasmina again. I head of financial planning, productivity and costing for George Eliot. So that's the Coventry and Warwickshire ICB. How this initiative with us has come about, we applied for level 2 accreditation, and there was a standard that asked how do we promote NHS careers. And obviously for me it really wasn't just anymore looking internally. We just had to reach out and do a little bit of a wider kind of search and promotion, because you will be amazed to know how little awareness there is out there about the NHS finance careers. So I'll talk you through that. Obviously everybody knows it from a medical staffing perspective, but when it came to finance, it wasn't on people's sort of first, second or third thought processes at all, which surprised me. Such a large employer. Obviously when they go into graduate programs, things, there's more thinking and there is more there, but at GCSE level, A level, the thinking just wasn't there. It didn't jump out. So we tried to reach out and make NHS finance career jump out a little bit. So I've got here a slide pack, which is very lengthy, but I wanted just to give you an idea what we presented, as well give you a bit of context and my personal thoughts on the process and how much more we can do all to make it better and much slicker. So I hope it's of use, and I will link it as well with various other strategies that are obviously going on within NHS finance, which is, of course, makes it particularly relevant. So Value Makers, so for today, we're presenting how George Eliot engaged with local schools and colleges to promote NHS finance careers. I will be going through a lot of things. So how did we engage? What's the geography that we looked at? Example presentations. So we will show you exactly what we shared with the particular college that I will tell you in a minute about where we went to. It was just initial trial. We will do much more of those. I will highlight to you how we linked up with AAT. So to provide the professional qualification in the same conversation, what is available to people, because again, it seems a minefield. So we try to simplify that for people. What's the opportunity? What can you do with these kind of things in the NHS? What is qualification pathway? Because again, it can get very confusing when we talk about finance, and we've given them resources, etc. I'll give you a bit of a feedback that we had back. It's my personal thoughts on how difficult it is to engage with these young people. It's a generation thing. And that shouldn't have been difficult for me. I have an A-level student at home, but they don't respond. They just listen, and it looks like they're not listening, but actually they are. So it's just learning how to deal with that, because normally when you present something, you have a lot of feedback, lots of questions, had none of them. So that was interesting as well. And just here at the end, I just thought when we have a work experience or request or summer internship, or anybody who comes through this channel when we advertise it, what kind of timetable, what little training plan do we put in place with them? How have we been using the HFMA bite-sized courses for them to actually give them something substantial to go away and put on their CV, so that they haven't had just a work experience. People come in and just go, I'm doing this and doing nothing. This is about being a bit more specific, and I'll give you some personal observations on this. So I hope everybody has read, or at least is aware of, the national objectives on promotion, recruitment and retention strategy. So I've given here a link, but this is, if you go in, this is what, oh, that's not that one. That's that's this one here. Just bear with me a second. This is the leaflet that we're looking here. So this is about the national strategy and the action plan. How do we attract people to NHS Finance? How do we recruit them? And how do we fundamentally retain them in there? You will see various actions, and there is a particular action plan in there. And this is about improved external marketing and improvement in engaging with local colleges. So this effort was in support of the 1.3 action plan. So I'm just going to kind of try to link it there for you a little bit. So it's about promoting our finance careers, and reinventing some of the perceptions that are out there, because NHS Finance is a great career. And I would say the progression is much simpler than in many other organizations. So we worked with our talent for care team. They're called different things in different organizations, but we said, how do we engage out there? We didn't want just to fly this solo. We wanted to work as an organization. So they helped us understand what the processes are, and they helped us reach out to the local schools and colleges within our vicinity. So once we knew who these people are in our vicinity, and I'll show you just a geographic map here. So this is Nuneaton and Bedworth Secondary School. So it gives us an idea who the colleges are and what would be a good catchment area for us here to whom to approach. And obviously I will make a point at this at the end. This I found almost kind of, it shouldn't just be George Eliot going out there and attracting these people and these students, because they actually would like to work in Coventry as well. They would like to work in Birmingham. So this should be more of a kind of, you can work anywhere. Let's just raise awareness. But on this occasion, it was about George Eliot particularly. So we went obviously to one of the colleges that is very near to us. And when we knew we could attract reasonable kind of interest. So as part of that, we contacted all the career advisors, career leads, they're called different things in each schools, and we worked with King Edward VI College, sixth form college in Nuneaton, and decided to present and visit to A-level students. On this occasion, it was A-level students, but as I said, we would have gone to GCSEs as well, and we're planning to do more of that. So we presented to about 100 plus, I think it was about 120 students and teachers altogether. They were A-level students, and they did business and finance as their core modules. So very relevant, but you'll see that maybe it wasn't that relevant as well, because sometimes students do A-levels that they do not wish to pursue as a career as well, which again opened my eyes to choices. Because again, for me, it was, I want to work in finance. I was 16 when I knew that, and my career path was mapped out, but not for everybody is the same. So after that, obviously, when we had summer internship requests and work experience students coming through to us, and we managed to provide it during August and September. So that was quite beneficial. Some want to come back to us. And really, it's now about the ongoing engagement that we have in place. So what I've done here, just in case this gets shared, I have copied this national kind of ambition and objective in here, so that you can see that actually we are required to deliver some, at least I think it is one delivered per annum. Jill, you might know better, but I'm kind of going 2 to 3 colleges per year. That would be ideal, but we don't have to do all 3 if we can't. Reaching out is an important bit. So I've told you where I've been. So this was our local map, King Edward VI, and then this is pretty much what we presented to them. So we said who we are, we said what we're doing. I'm a CIMA qualified accountant, longer than I care for to remember, to be honest. No. And we talked them through an introduction page. What are we going to cover today? What is the NHS? What careers are available in the NHS? A lot of these slides, dare I say, were supported by Becky and her team. This is already available. You don't have to start building this yourself. It was fantastic how Becky could come up with various different presentations, and we just threw them together appropriately, because again, we don't want to go out and confuse people with a lot of varying information. We needed to link it to well-known pages on the intranet. So this was extremely useful to have that support. We then talked about the routes into the NHS finance career, the levels of pay. You don't underestimate how valuable that was to people, because NHS pays generously, and it didn't seem to be the perception out there. They were all very surprised at the starting levels. So I hope I haven't got those wrong, Jill. The apprenticeship pathway, the apprenticeships, we published a career story. So we had a lady in our department, Beth, which I'll talk about more. She's come exactly this route. She finished her A-levels, didn't want to go to university. So we thought, let's make it real and share that real people do this as well. We then gave a whole presentation on AAT, a few slides, just to say, if you choose to come to with us, and from an A-level perspective, we'd ideally like you to go into CIMA, but if you wish to start a little bit more technical and starter level, we will talk about AAT to you. So in the future, I would like to expand it to be talking about CIMA, ACCA, CIPFA, and all the other professional bodies as well. So because AAT was fast off the mark, we used them in collaboration here. So they would normally come out and present with us and talk all about their qualification, useful contacts, questions and answers, etc. We talked about, why an NHS career in finance, how diverse the workforce is for all people, and why does it really matter. We talked about the range of careers, because we do know that mostly we are known for obviously medical staffing and nursing. We talked about where they can make an impact, and also about professional qualifications, apprenticeships. So, whatever pathways you choose and whatever is right for you. So give them a little bit of an introduction here. Then we summarized that and said, well, you can come to us through different routes. You can do a summer internship and get a little bit of a feeling what's going on. Obviously, this is paid, and I'll come through to problems later that I experienced during this process. But this is a nice way in. So we had a guy called Joe come to us. He's at university already, and he wanted to work in the NHS when he finishes his economics degree. It was a fantastic experience having Joe for 6 weeks. I would highly recommend this. The value he's generated in 6 weeks was absolutely amazing. Apprenticeship obviously is a very obvious route. You can come to us and we'll support you to achieve your qualifications, and you will be earning a salary at the same time. And whilst your peer group will be in education, you're already building work experience up. So again, that they were well aware of apprenticeships, because it is pushed via different levels from the schools as well. Undergraduate work placements, so that's something we offer as well. And then NHS graduate management scheme training. So again, this I think was well known already for the graduates. So we gave them a bit of a flavor of that. And then we talked about, well, what jobs are there in NHS finance? Unqualified accountant jobs, qualified accountant jobs. So a little bit of a head of finance, right to CFO level. What route would you be going through roughly? But if you don't want to qualify, what can you do with just AAT, for example? And that may be right for many different people. Talked a little bit about levels of pay. What can you earn? Graduate, trainee accountant between 21 and 32 per annum. This, we have said they change all the time, so it may have not been the most up to date, but this gives them a feeling. This is just about a feeling. And the qualified accountant would be earning anything 38k and above as they rise through the grading structure. This was a bit of a career map. If you're from GCSE's background, you're going maybe into a finance apprenticeship, you might progress to do A-levels or BTEC, you might move on to do a degree, in which case you'll be going to a graduate program. If you came through the apprenticeship, you might be looking at accounts assistant, trainee accountant, and you can still then go your professional qualification, get to a qualified accountant. And again, this map has been very, very, very popular. It gave people that insight. How do I actually get wherever I am currently? How do I become a qualified accountant? A little bit more about that detail. Obviously here, I won't use the time to go through. We shared this was our finance apprenticeship career story. So Beth Dunton is our senior finance business partner, George Elliott now. She's been an apprenticeship within the organization. So our organically grown success story. She started in George Elliott in 2013 through the apprenticeship at the age of 18. She always wanted apprenticeship rather than university. And she went through the AAT traditional gaining level 4. And then she wanted to continue her studies with CIMA, which she completed in 2020. So she's very, very successful career there. And she's still very happy at George Elliott. We'll try and keep her with us. So that made it a little bit real, speaking to the students, because of course, you know, it's one of their own. AAT, so Lee Spicer from AAT has created this slide pack for us to just say, and here is the AAT qualification. This is what it entails. So very quickly through there, going what they will be offering, what are the benefits, how do they maximize your potential, how do you get into there, how do you work, where do you, which links are available if you wanted to pursue any jobs, apprenticeships, graduate programs. So again, signposting people onto that. Talked about more information about George Elliott specifically. I mentioned that before to you, that I see this being, rather than George Elliott, we should be looking to do more at the system level and walk out there and talk to local, wider range of colleges and talk about what's available within our system, within our regions. But again, gave them all the relevant links should they pursue these things. And there was lots of interest about this. Lots of requests was personally to AAT because we had some feedback back from them. We then gave a feedback session and said, you know, we all had their phones there, so obviously we said, here is a you know, QR code, give us some feedback. How did you find the session today? Was it of interest? And you know, interesting feedback. Some of it I pulled out here to show you. It was somewhat helpful. Yeah, a large proportion of that said it was somewhat helpful. When we explored that a little bit further in the further feedback, it was not many of these said they wanted to pursue actually a finance career despite doing a finance and an accounting A-level, which was a bit surprising to me. But, you know, this is, you know, sometimes the choices don't mean that's the career people progress. So, you know, they said, following this session, do you feel it has opened up a new career option available to you? And as you can see, many said actually maybe. So that was quite a telling thing. So it has made an impact. It has given them information they didn't have before. It was very different, the presentation that was popping out from the feedback. And I think what they liked is that end-to-end thing that came out. Why was it different? It was different because it talked definitely about the career path. It wasn't just another link. It was giving them insight wherever they are on that career journey map that I shared with you. So that's why it was different for them. Everybody could, you know, place themselves somewhere on the map. It is actually a career, so you don't have to stop at the lower level. You can progress wherever you want to be. So we thought that was reasonably good feedback. We then, that hasn't been presented. I mean, that's where I ended the presentation in terms of what went out to college. For our perspective today, I'm just sharing. So we had to then prepare for the work experience and the summer internship that the applications were going to come through. So we created little timetables. On a Monday, you will arrive. This is what you do in the morning. On an afternoon, this is you will be doing this. I'm sure every organization does something similar. But I think this gave people a clarity of the program for the 1 week or the 6 weeks, for example, if they were doing the summer internship. We gave them who the finance body was, the contact that would be looking after them while they're with us, and who was the student when others starting, and who's got responsibility around them. We've definitely wanted to promote the HFMA bite-sized courses for them, because we wanted them to walk away with having a little healthcare sort of certificate. So we have allocated an afternoon for them to be doing some of the free ones as well, of course, but definitely the 5 ones that we have to do in order to get this award, introductory award in healthcare finance. That went absolutely brilliantly down to our work experience in summer internship. They all had a 100% pass rate from all of them, which was just like, I thought, our existing staff, we need to improve. Look at the newbies, they're doing extremely well. So again, very, very popular, and just opened up another world to them, what it actually means to work within NHS finance. What does budgeting look like? How do commissioners work? What does it actually mean? The finance flow, again, very insightful, and lots of compliments about this. Feedback, yeah, good feedback. We get feedback from them. We try and act on it and improve where it's possible. So, they liked being in a large office, for example. They felt really supported by all the departments, and appropriate time was made to them. Somebody even paid for their lunch to make them feel welcome, which I thought was really good. We hadn't asked for that. And really, I think that brings me to the end of this very, very quick tour, but I'm very happy to answer any questions you have. But maybe while you think of the questions, I'm just going to give you some personal observations from me personally on the day. Really, like I tried to already say here, NHS Finance Care was largely unknown and not tapped into at all by the local schools and colleges. So this is the A-level students here. But equally, what told me that the career leads, the teachers didn't know about it as well. They were quite like, wow, we didn't know that existed. We normally send our students to an event, they organize it. And normally it's only nursing and medical staffing who talks to us. We will certainly be expanding and including finance in any future events. So that was very insightful, and the career leads in the school really has appreciated it. The timing of the engagement, well, I went out in June because it took a couple of months to get out there. And I think the timing wasn't quite right because it was the end of the year. Everybody was switching off. You can imagine the A-level students going, well, I don't want to think career. I'm off now. I don't want to be working anymore. But they still all attended and engaged. So if I was to do it again, which I will, I wouldn't be going. So we will be going out shortly, probably not at the beginning of the school, because I think September again, you're into starting your school year. It's not probably so relevant, but certainly starting from January till March, April is probably a really good timing. I personally found it difficult to present to A-level students because I just thought, oh God, they're not, sorry, I don't know what I did there. Click something there. Because again, they just look at you and they listen. You don't think they're listening because they're not engaging, but at the end, they do engage. So it's just understanding how the groups work. So initially, I found it a little bit off-putting, but actually they did get it all in the end, which matters. Really, the summer internship was a massive, massive success for both us and the individual Joe. But what I found is it was really difficult to get them paid. So we haven't had the setup in our workforce, so we couldn't pay them through ESR, we couldn't pay them through anything. So fortunately, we are with NHSP, so we logged them on with NHSP, processed them through properly, and we could pay them in a time, but we couldn't use our ESR or workforce processes. We just seemed not to be set up to do that at all. They asked us to go for a formal interview. Well, we did have an interview. We shouldn't go through NHS jobs for it. We had to circumvent a lot. So there's a bit of a step I think I would recommend you all need to do. And maybe Jill, I don't know whether Becky and yourself and everybody can give a bit of advice. It could be much simpler, to be honest. Imagine the person is only there for 6 weeks with us. We can't spend 8 weeks setting up how to pay them. So, but we managed in the end. Yeah, working across the system, we haven't quite worked that up. So we went just George Eliot. And of course, many of the students wanted to work in other parts of the country. So this was important. And I made clear on the day, this wasn't just about George Eliot by any means. This is available wider, but I needed to have that system consistency, I think, there. Cross-wide, yeah, obviously, cross-provider presentation will be much better. So if we can get somebody from another provider talking would be much more beneficial. And really worked here with AAT, but definitely want to work with the other professional bodies because we'd like, again, to promote what that pathway could look like and be very clear when we explain that. So hopefully that's helpful and gives you a feeling what happened on the day and how valuable an exercise it actually was, and how we will find it, hopefully when we advertise for jobs, it's not this unknown anymore. People will start knowing what we are offering. If there are any questions, very happy to take it. And if I rushed anything through, I'm happy to cover. I think Rosa?
Yeah, sorry, my little one is at home sick today, so if you can hear her in the background, my apologies.
Okay, that's okay.
I would just be interested to hear a bit more about the summer internship programme and what ages you opened that up for and how you advertised it. I know you said that the person that did the programme this year was a graduate, but would that always be the case? And did you advertise the programme?
So we didn't particularly advertise. That's what I'm trying to say. We weren't particularly, that graduate came out of this presentation because they happened to be in the room because they were visiting for another purpose, so they got to know about it and they sent in an application and we considered it. But we haven't advertised. We should be advertising because again, that's the setup I think that was lacking as George Eliot. We weren't accustomed to invite summer internships. And I think we're working with HR in the background, Rosa, to do that. But by all means, stay in touch. And I'm very happy to tell you how we're getting on here, because we offer it as a pathway, but we hadn't been having that set up. So he's just applied. We went through his application and he happened to be a graduate. A university student, but in his first year, so he only had started only just. But we would definitely want to open summer internship for other levels as well, GCSE. So anybody who's waiting for the GCSE results, for example, anybody who's done lower 6, again, very relevant, because the earlier you catch the students, the better, that thought process is there. What would I want to be my career? Because if you go towards, upper 6 level students, the 6th form students, they're kind of mapped it out already a little bit. It's really difficult to turn that around. So I'm definitely going to start going into GCSE and lower 6 levels. But yeah, I haven't worked out that application process through yet for summer internship. It's a good question though, but I can keep you all updated what George Eliot will do. And again, it should be consistent, isn't it? It should be everybody does the same.
Yeah, thank you. I think that would be really helpful to see how that unfolds, and maybe we could roll something similar out at our trust. That would be really good.
Yeah, so we paid band 2 levels, because obviously that was, I think, the minimum expectation, but also was right because he was very capable, already a student doing economics. Honestly, he did work for us for 6 weeks. He did 2 benchmarking exercises. He loved it. He completely demystified the model hospital benchmarking for us. So, when you get somebody with that background, you'll get more out of it. If we had the GCSE students, we obviously would want to see work with them. So we were very clear in our training program. We need outputs from you at the end of this. So again, that wouldn't be anything different what you expect in a normal job, isn't it? We will train you, we will support you. Here is your output that we're working in towards the end of your placement. And that gave them that clarity of focus and going, actually, I can have a presentation, an exercise to take with me and use as a bit of, you know, a CV type of thing as well. That was selling things to people, because they said, oh, I thought I'd just come in and have cup of teas and stuff. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. But you can see how sometimes that does happen with work experience and stuff, because people don't know what to do with them. That's why we started doing this program and saying there's an output at the end of the day. It has to generate value.
Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you, Rosa. Pam. Hello, Pam.
Hi, Yasmina. How are you doing?
All right, thank you. Are you okay?
Yes, very well, thanks. Oh, don't know. I think my microphone isn't working. Is it okay?
Yes, sure it
Yeah,
is.
fabulous. Yeah, just wanted to echo how amazing that presentation was and the work that you're doing. And
Pam.
we've also done quite a lot of sharing, obviously,
Mhm.
and it was just to offer, you know, taking forward that system-wide approach. More than happy to support you on any future.
No, brilliant. And we talk about it already. We
Yeah,
started
we
talking,
have,
didn't we,
yeah.
Pam? So Pam is from UHCW, University Hospital, Coventry, Warwickshire, and she is a legend in this arena of financial development, aren't you,
Oh.
Pam? It's only fair to say. So anything that we want to say, oh, what did you do, Pam? Soon, she's very willing, very knowledgeable, and very helpful. So we kind of linked up nicely, and we, you know, it really worked, hasn't it, Pam? We shared even pieces of work between ourselves, but of something like this, recruitment and promoting NHS careers out there is really important, because you can imagine George Eliot is a tiny little hospital at the end of nowhere, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, tiny, sleepy little place, and there's UHCW, a giant. And if we go together, I mean, this gives people options, doesn't it? It just kind of you know, sells the size of the NHS and what you can do. So thank you, Pam. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to do something like this on a joint kind of level.
Don't forget the ICB as well.
Thank you.
Any other
Okay, I'll stop
questions?
sharing if that's okay, Jill.
Yeah.
I appreciate I might have been a bit fast. Did you give me more time, or?
Or you'd got another half an hour if you wanted it, Yasmin. You've done very well.
I hope it was clear anyway. I hope you get the message. I think it's also supporting the national agenda. It is we just, every time we put an advert out, I don't know about you, but you can see that either people apply who have never worked in finance, haven't got any idea what it actually offers. Oh, thanks, Pam. Or it's the same old people, like, you know, that work somewhere else within NHS finance. And, you know, yes, we want those people as well, because we have that knowledge, we have that already transferable skill set, mindset. But we do want new people as well, fresh people that are attracted for all the right reasons, not because, you know, they can't find another job elsewhere. We want them because they see this as a real career, and a huge and good and rewarding place to work. So it was absolutely, you know, I had to wake up to the fact that not many people knew about, oh, you're offering a finance career. We just thought it's all about medics and stuff. You know, it really was well worth the time, and we just have to keep on doing more.
Brilliant, thank you. Has anybody on that same sort of thing? One of the big things that I keep hearing so much about is the AI and the making more effective and efficient use of IT and that sort of thing. Has anybody brought those sort of skills into their finance departments successfully? Okay.
We are looking at exploring the potential tools and options we can use to implement within the finance department. And one we're looking at, and we are talking with SDN to provide enough support, is the Excel Copilot. So there are some, our Microsoft partners are put together some course there. I think SDN put as a next year plan to bring awareness, because it's really a change program, because it's so disruptive that you need to make sure people are involved from the beginning and aware what the potential of artificial intelligence are, and the changes they could then bring as a consequence. So I think I would say we haven't implemented anything yet, but we're looking at making progress, because I think it's crucial in the context of the all development, talent management, and everything, because if the roles will change, you need to plan for your pipeline to make sure that the people on your pipeline develop the skills that are needed, rather than the skills that will be probably augmented by artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rosa.
Okay.
Yeah, we did have a brief look at how we could use AI in the finance team. But I think basically what happened is we identified that the most useful AI will probably be Copilot, because it's Microsoft's artificial intelligence and it integrates with all of the Microsoft applications. However, we are moving on to the national tenant for our Microsoft service, which means we'll be using the licenses provided with NHS Net, and they have blocked the use of Copilot. So I think for many trusts, that's probably going to be the issue that they face. I did hear that NHS England are planning to review that in the coming year, so it might be that changes in time, but for now there's not really much that we're able to do with it.
Yeah, that's my problem as well. Yes, Mina?
Yes, the same as Rosa's.
Yeah.
Looked at Microsoft Copilot, got our information team engaged, finance team, and then obviously it's been blocked, so can't progress. It's such a shame, because I can see the value of it massively. And also we had the presentation from Oliver Deakin. I don't know, Jill, if you're aware. He's been also, saying this is a valuable resource, which is why we started looking at it. And unfortunately can't progress at the moment. So
I just wondered if rather than just focusing on the finance skills when we're going out to talk to these young people, we should really push the fact that we need all sorts of different skills. And it's not just the finance, is it? It's the IT, it's the AI side of things, which they seem to pick up far easier than I ever have done. As well as the stuff like business and analytics and that side of it, which is also really growing. So there's lots of spin-offs, isn't there, from finance that to get people involved and hook them in. Yes, Mina?
Yes, absolutely. I should have actually said that on here. So our CFO looks after the information department as well. It's not uncommon, finance and information or performance. So I have said I would like to add that, because analytics is a very popular subject area, so we should be, but it doesn't feel like we mapped that out sufficiently in terms of that pathway is not so clearly defined as is the finance one. But we did link up with Warwick University to see how, well, it's a big name, as you can imagine, in the region. And it's also, they're working with us on the analytics side. So we said, well, what does the pathway look like here from a lower level? And we have obviously AFA Midlands, you've heard of them, the analyst sort of membership body on there. So that pathway just has to be mapped out, Jill, because when you go and present to people, that was exactly the clarity they wanted. It's that pathway. How do I join it right now? This is the starting point. This is where it can lead me. And I have not been fluent enough in that to present on this first occasion, so focused on finance. But definitely. Also, you're talking language that these people like to hear, AI. I didn't even mention AI in anything in finance. And I'm sure some of the feedback that we had was a lot of, I will be interested to see how we automate finance process. I'm like, oh, hold on a minute. Yes. But yeah, absolutely. We should expand it in that as well. Because again, we have trouble recruiting. I hope it's similar to everybody, to analysts. across the NHS. Again, it's another, I think, like finance, quite niche or perceived to be niche. So yeah, completely agree, but haven't got that pathway quite yet mapped out.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We're still early in the process, aren't we? We're learning as we go along, all of us. But that's really good, Yasmin. It's really brilliant to hear how we're getting out there and trying and then improving, and we should all grab that nettle and run with it as far as we possibly can. Sorry, I'm just a bit cold. Okay. Is there anything else anybody would like to raise, ask? Are there any ideas for future sessions? I know AI has been mentioned in the chat. Anything else that anybody would like us to include in these sessions in the future? Can't think of anything now, don't worry. Drop me or Becky an email and we'll make sure it gets on, or pop it in the chat. We've probably got access to the chat after we close, so you can put things in there. Yasmina?
Yeah, Jill, just a thought here was about most of us on this call, I think, if not all of us, but are also training leads. And,
Yeah.
you know, it would be really useful. I know you're gathering a lot of information in terms of training needs analysis to see there was this feedback form that everybody populated. It would be really useful. What are the thoughts? I recently dropped a note to Megan and Becky to say, we are very reactive, it feels to me, in the finance world at least, or at least I am reactive to my emails every day. I come in and I get about 50 emails a day. And what you're going to do? One day I can just spend answering emails all day. And at the end of the day, I sit going, what have I done today? And I can't physically say that I have done something. I've been very reactive. So when I worked in a different organization outside of the NHS, was in banking, we used something called time boxing, which was mapping out your diary, creating slots in there and making it really forcing yourself almost to say, I'm carving out time to do this activity. This is a routine activity. I know I have to do it every month, so I'm putting it in so you don't feel like you're reactive, because there is a motivational factor to this. If you're reactive all day, you know what you're going to do to achieve your workload? You're going to work long hours. And so we don't want that. We want people to plan ahead properly. So I thought something on time boxing might be useful if it's of interest to the wider group, to remove wherever possible. Let's live under no illusion here. We're all going to have to be reactive at some point, a lot of the time, because something unknown just comes out from CFO and you go, okay, that's thrown my to-do list for today completely. And that's okay, as long as it's minimized to the odd occasion. When it throws us all into a spin, and I'm spinning a lot, I really would find it helpful again to go to my time boxing. And I just thought, well, why not share it here? Because I think HFMA in the past did do some on this, but it might have been dropped, and maybe a good time to see whether there's some interest in it. Oh, hello, Rose. Oh, she's so sweet, Rosa. we have recruited somebody else here, Jill. Look.
Yeah. Always good to say. Get them in young.
So training needs analysis, but really kind of where is it coming together? What is Becky and team gonna lay on for us? What's HFMA gonna lay on for us? It'd just be nice to be sighted ahead to see how does it fit in all of our appraisals, individual trusts, kind of training needs assessments, so that we work off each other, so to speak. Thank you.
Rosa?
Hi, yeah, sorry, I just realised that I didn't introduce myself when I last came on the mic. So I'm Rosa, I'm Finance and Business Manager at Birmingham and Solihull Mental Health NHS Foundation Trust, which is quite a mouthful. But I was just going to say, maybe a session just around productivity in general would be useful, because I know Yasmina mentioned time blocking, which we find really useful in our team. But just productivity in general, I think would be a good session to have.
Great. Okay.
So I'm going to be really boring here, Jill, coming in again on that productivity point, because Rosa just absolutely nailed it for me. There's this NHS England workforce productivity tool going on. There's lots of different tools that lots of us are being engaged to. Maybe we can have a presentation how people have used it. And I'm just pre-warning you, there might be a George Eliot case study coming out by NHS. Self-promotion, we have to use the forums, haven't we? So we've done it. I'm very happy to present, happy to engage with individual people as well, to tell you how to cut corners and to make it simple, because I know whenever we get a template from NHS England, my heart sinks. I just go, oh, they haven't got the data around. Where did they get it from? Oh my God, it's not triangulating. And this actually worked. So I'm very happy. Again, if it's helpful to give a presentation, I'm sure other people here have done it as well, and somebody else should have the platform to present it. But that would be very useful, because in the Darcy report, productivity was mentioned, even in the summary, only 88 times. So I think you're absolutely right, Rosa. We need to do something perhaps on that.
Brilliant. Okay, Yasmin, and thanks for the offer. Well, I'll get Becky to see what she can organise. Anything else anybody wants to raise? No? Brilliant. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful to see everybody here today. A lot of people attending and brilliant presentations, so thank you very much. And it's probably in a couple of months' time that the next one will be on. Please, it'd be brilliant to see you all then. Okay, I'll give you some time back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.